I think it's officially afternoon. So I get to say good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to the 2022 College of DuPage Distinguished Alumni Awards. My name is Walter Johnson, and I'm Vice President here at the college, and it is an honor to be a part of this program, which has been on hiatus for the last 5 years. And so we are just thrilled to be able to have this group of deserving alumni be a part of kicking this program off again. Now, I'm about to go off script, so I've warned at least one person on my team that I'm going to do this so that everybody doesn't freak out. But I thought, okay, I've got these formal notes, but I got to have a little fun, okay, just a little bit. So here's what's happened so far. I've had a request for David to sing. Request denied. We're here to honor him, not to put him to work, okay? And Lamorn, I know you're funny. The reason why I know you're funny, it is not the BMO commercials and all that. I saw you on Kimmel this summer, okay? Here's the problem. If you couldn't keep it clean for your mom, I'm in trouble. Again, it is such an honor for the College of DuPage to be able to pay homage to these individuals. At this time, I want to recognize a few honored guests that have decided to join us this afternoon. We have in the audience former college president Hal McAninch, of which this building is named after. I'm going to leave one Board of Trustee name off the list because we are going to be recognizing her as a part of this program, but we are thrilled to have a Board of Trustee member Christine Finney in the room. Christine, thank you for coming. Trustee member Nick Howard. And I believe Trustee Daniel Markwell is also planning to be here today. In addition, I think it's important to recognize, and every year that we do this, we are going to have a concerted effort to invite back previous honorees. And so today we have from the class of 2014, Lamorn Morris, who's decided to join us. From the class of 2015, Marco Benassi. I think I got that right. From the class of 16, Helmi Hashim. I knew I was going to screw that up. I am so sorry. Also from the class of 2016, Jim Elliott. And joining us later from the class of 2016, Mark Pfefferman, who was also former village board president for Glen Ellen. Thank you all for joining us today. I also want to acknowledge two additional people. One of the folks that the Office of Institutional Advancement partners with personally in the organization that we help create the funding for things like this and scholarships and all kinds of other opportunities on campus is when we work with the College of DuPage Foundation. And today we have with us the executive director of the College of DuPage Foundation, Karen Kuhn. I want to recognize her. And also former, most recent past president of the foundation board, Sherman Neal. Sherman, thank you for joining us. And now at this time, I would like to introduce the current president, the College of DuPage, Dr. Brian Caputo.
Thank you, Walter. And I got to say, I'm patting myself on the back all the time for picking him. He's been a great vice president for this college. And I also thank you for coming here today and being with us to honor our distinguished alumni. College of DuPage is focused on helping students meet their goals. And we want to have them leave the institution feeling prepared to take their next steps, whether it's in their careers or in their lives. We're always happy to hear from our alumni and celebrate their success. I want to especially thank the college's Alumni Relations Office, which does a fabulous job trying to stay in touch with our alumni and keeping them involved. Today's event celebrates the accomplishments of 5 alumni. They have never forgotten their ties to College of DuPage, and they're always trying to devote their time and skills to help our community thrive. We have an entrepreneur currently serving as the chair of the Board of Trustees, helping to shape the future of our institution. We have a renowned opera singer who is an adjunct professor at COD, inspiring the next generation of musical talent. We have a philanthropist who helps our paralegal studies students as well as students with special needs through our coach program. We have the current president of the DuPage County Bar Association, who has returned to COD to serve on our foundation board and also to serve on the Chaparral Alumni Network Executive Committee. And finally, we have an accomplished actor who shares his wisdom and experiences with our theater students. These 5 alumni exemplify the community college experience. They have excelled in their careers, and they're willing to give back to our institution. Congratulations to this year's Distinguished Alumni, and we are proud to call them chaparrals. I would now like to introduce the next speaker, Aisha Sheffield. Quite a dynamic young lady, and we see that in her performance as a student trustee on our College Board of Trustees. In that role, she works to build a community where all students feel that they belong. She celebrates the diversity on our campus and supports initiatives that advance student success. Please welcome Aisha.
Thank you, Dr. Caputo. And thank you all for being here, for being an inspiration to not just me, but the endless amount of students who might be watching and listening in. I am student trustee. I also serve as vice president of the Computer Science Club and the officer of Student Leadership Council. You can tell I involve myself heavily with school. But before that, I am just a regular student. Someone who's figuring out what to do with life. And when we have events like this, where we see our distinguished alumni and community members coming together, it is such an inspiration. To the little girl that was me living in Saudi Arabia, not knowing if I was gonna get an education, this is amazing. College of DuPage is a college of dreams, and we do establish those dreams and get inspired by our alumni when we see them. I am honored to be here as student trustee and to take part of this event, truly. So let's get started for the reason why we are all here today. Our first presenter is Alice Snelgrove. Alice began working at COD in 1982 and retired in 2005, marking a rich 23-year career at the college. Here is the highly esteemed Professor Snelgrove.
What a great honor and privilege it is to introduce a former student with whom I worked for several years, a woman of astonishing achievement, Dr. Maureen Dunn. But where to begin? My first memory of Maureen is when she came to my office as a member of the Honors Scholar Program. Only 17 years old, she was tiny in stature, but I had already heard about her towering intellect, her outstanding academic performance, her passionate interest in autism, and how quickly she was moving forward. In fact, one day a colleague a cytology professor, pulled me aside and remarked, "Alice, one day Maureen is going to make my profession very proud." And indeed she has. And it didn't take long. Maureen has achieved so much, has received so many well-deserved awards and recognitions, that I cannot begin to name them all. However, I will start with her academics. Her time at COD, when she was a 1995 Outstanding Female Graduate with more than twice the required credits for graduation and a perfect 4.0 GPA. She was president of Psi Beta, Honorary Cytology Society, and a member of Phi Theta Kappa, as well as a recipient of a PTK International Scholarship, one of only 10 Americans so honored. She was twice named to USA Today's All-USA Academic Team and received a National Allen and Baton Award for her theory on educating autistic children, a subject of many articles she has subsequently published on this topic. From COD, Maureen moved to the University of Chicago and there earned both bachelor's and master's degrees, receiving both the same year. During that time, she was inducted into Phi Beta Kappa, was founder and president of the UFC chapter of the National Cytology Honor Society, received a Ford Foundation Fellowship, and most notably was awarded a Rhodes Scholarship, the first ever community college graduate to be so honored, making us at COD especially proud. With the Rhodes Scholarship, Maureen moved to Oxford University, earned a master's degree and a doctorate in cognitive sciences, and along the way picked up an additional master's degree from the London School of Economics. She then returned to the United States, to California, to pursue her long interest in autistic children and play. In the years since, Maureen has become an entrepreneur focused on neurodiversity and the educational and social needs of people diagnosed with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and other cognitive typologies. She is the co-founder and managing partner of the first social impact investment association that focuses on neurodiversity. She is a neurodiversity expert for the Lego Foundation, and don't we all love to play with Legos? She is the recipient of fellowships at Harvard and MIT. She's a National Science Foundation Fellow. She helped organize last fall's Stanford University Neurodiversity Summit, is an adjunct faculty member at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and the founder of the Transition to Success program to help the neurodiverse population move to jobs or higher education. At COD, she created the Dr. Maureen N. Dunn Autism Student Success Scholarship. An internationally known expert on neurodiversity, Maureen speaks at numerous conferences and events, publishes on neurodiversity, develops programs such as a local high school boot camp to help students expand their career potential. She is chair of our COD Board of Trustees and president of the Illinois Community College Trustees Association. We could go on, and there's much more to say about her achievements. And you may be thinking that Maureen is too good to be true. But make no mistake, she is authentic, absolutely authentic. She is caring and committed, and she is devoted to service. Maureen has always searched for ways to serve. This she did as a COD student when she began the long-running peer mentoring program, when she organized community fundraising for mental health awareness, when she worked with the disabled and the illiterate, when she founded and directed an organization to help reach and educate autistic citizens. She served as a humanitarian aide in Bosnia and Croatia, taught English in the Czech Republic, worked with children in Hungary, and in Zimbabwe assisted children infected with HIV, a time when people were frightened even to touch an AIDS sufferer. And that was just during her college years. Maureen's deep commitment to others also embraces her family. When at the University of Chicago, she helped care for her dying grandmother and at the same time researched treatment for the cancer that soon took her mother's life. Years later, Maureen would care for a nonverbal autistic foster child and also have children of her own. Triplets. Of course, Maureen being Maureen would have triplets. Seeking closer connection to her Illinois origins, Maureen and her family moved to DuPage County, back to the people she would serve. She came here to give her family roots and to help our community blossom, to grow into its finest and best potential. This she is busily engaged in doing. This is her focus. This is her gift. We are its fortunate recipients. Dr. Maureen Dunn.
Thank you so much, Alice. It's just wonderful that you were the one to introduce me. I can't tell you what an honor it is to be recognized today along with 4 such outstanding alums. One of the fondest memories I had in the past being on stage at the MAC was quite a long time ago. I was invited as a recent graduate to join an event with several alums, including Jim Belushi, and I remember being on this very stage, and I'm sure there's some pictures the COD library could dig up where Jim Belushi was pretending as a joke to strangle me because he wanted to take away my Rhodes Scholarship. And that moment, I just kind of think back, I constantly having these sort of deja vu experiences, sort of being back in my current role and just how much this institution has meant so much to my life. And back then, I just would have never imagined, that I would be standing here accepting this honor as a distinguished alum while simultaneously serving our college as the chair of the Board of Trustees. There's so much here that feels like completing a very, very special closing of the circle. And I think for all of us as alums, we each have our own stories to tell, our own unique journeys. And of course, all of us, we're always the main character in our stories. I know, if you look at most great literature or films, which I really appreciated my time with Frida Lidman in her honors poetry and literature courses that we had lots of conversations of this nature. But, the main character, right, always abruptly enters an unfamiliar world, unfamiliar territory, a completely new world. Where there's always these unexpected twists, metaphorical mountains, if you will, to climb. There's always really, really big choices to make. The stakes are always high. So many paths or roads to choose from. And of course, along the way, if you're lucky, transformations happen, but they're never alone. And it's always with the help and support of mentors and allies, where without the availability of those individuals, it just would not be possible to pull off climbing that mountain or accomplishing any meaningful progress or significant transformation. And College of DuPage was that place for me. I feel like, I entered a new world. It was an exciting world. It was an unfamiliar world. But what I did know was anything was possible. I felt that. I felt I could chart my own course and that I had the support I needed to do that. And I think I can say without question it was the most transformational period in my life where I could have gone in so many different directions. I had been an honors student most of my life, but high school was, for the most part, not a very pleasant experience for me, as often is the case for a large number of young people for many reasons. And I had graduated high school early as a junior, and I had a very, very deep need to chart my own path and figure things out for myself and feel like I knew where I belonged. And this was the place that happened for me. And, there was important choices to be made, there was risks that needed to be taken, and most importantly, there was allies and mentors that needed to show up at that exact period in my life trajectory, which happened. And faculty and mentors and even students, even my peers at COD, they made all the difference, and I will forever be grateful. I recall even meeting with a guidance counselor, and it's again another example of I never felt this sense here of like, oh, you should limit yourself, maybe you should kind of, not push so hard, maybe you shouldn't try to be more than you are type thing. And I remember meeting with a guidance counselor, and I wanted to identified 35 credit hours I wanted to take in a quarter, many of them were honors courses, and instead of telling me I was crazy, which, would be expected, I guess, instead, he asked me, if I believed I could handle that course load and still maintain a 4.0 grade point average. And at first I said yes, and then I said, well, maybe I'd end up with a 3.8, I don't know, but, it was worth the risk because what I really wanted was to learn and to go beyond sort of the bare minimum and this was the opportunity in my life to really try to challenge myself. And I remember him, just saying, okay, well, I trust your judgment, and I'm going to support you here, and I will be here each step of the way, however you want to do this. And that was just so liberating for me. And he just, without question, signed this permission slip. And then were the faculty mentors who just had such a deeply profound impact in my life, and I believe truly shifted my path. I mean, I feel like there were so many opportunities I wasn't aware of that time, figuring a lot of things out, figuring out where I belong. And I think, my community college experience was, for all of us, has been a truly transformative one. And for me, I had my own unique path, but it was, it really, I just think back to that time, and it's hard to not be emotional because it was so significant. And it's hard for me to kind of name a list because there was like so many people that had an influence on my path and my life. And I also recognize that the debt I've always felt to the College of DuPage and for all it gave me will never be fully paid off. Although, I honestly, I do have to say I work pretty hard on behalf of the college's board chair. I mean, yeah. But still, there's just never going to be adequate words to express the immeasurable gratitude I have for the people that joined me on this journey while I was a student here, especially the faculty who really believed in me and took the time to invest in me as a student, as a scholar, and as a person. And I know there's several of my former faculty members that are here today. I'd just like to acknowledge Alice Snelgrove, John Modschuler, Barb Lemmy, and Marco Benassi are four of them. And I just couldn't be more grateful for just the role that each of you have played in my development and my life. And I just want to thank each of you. And you'll never, I think, fully appreciate just how transformative I think your support and mentorship was. I mean, and I'm thinking of like John Modschuler and Alice Snelgrove, just the amount of time too I spent in their office, just getting advice, and the amount of time that they were spent with letters of recommendation, the encouragement, and then most importantly, just deeply caring about me as a student, in my journey. It really made all the difference. And my life, actually has been pretty bumpy. I mean, a lot of people think I've kind of, I don't know, I've sort of gone through a path that's been, I've excelled in some easy way, but I've had my fair share of challenges, and it's been a bumpy ride. So it's certainly not been a straight line. But Alice Snelgrove and John Modschuler especially were two individuals I've kept in touch with, especially in some of the years following my graduation here, and they continued to care and be involved well beyond my graduation, at COD. And also just want to recognize psychology professor Richard Ross. He also invested countless hours that he really didn't, he didn't have to. I mean, he took it upon himself to take on extra work, right, to help me pursue my goals and do independent studies and independent research projects, and even, was mentoring me for co-ops and internships, and, it was really extraordinary. And Marco Benassi, who's here, has got a very effective and a unique teaching style, and I just remember going back, when I was a student here, I had several courses with him, and I think just his style of mentorship and teaching, and then also I was on the forensics team for some time, just really kind of pushed me, to take some risks I needed to take at that time. It was really important to become a better communicator and I even found myself then competing, in the persuasion category on our speech team, and then I also recall participating in some rather unconventional outdoor field classes, and those were amazing. It was, again, totally out of my comfort zone, but super, super important to transform into to have a chance at sort of pushing myself and challenging myself to go in the direction I did after that, and learning, better ways of dealing with, group communication and teamwork and risk-taking, and also just very grateful for those experiences. And then also in my second quarter at College of DuPage, I signed up for honors developmental psychology with Professor Barb Lemmy, and that was really inspirational, and Barb also had just an amazing impact on me with just my passion in that space, and connecting some dots too of where research and where inquiry could be really connected to making a big social impact in the world. And she was one of the first professors I really had that kind of spurred that interest and passion, which I'm as well going to forever be grateful for. And I'd say all the professors I've had, there's many, many more I could list here, really, help open my eyes to opportunities that were available to me, but I didn't necessarily see them. And I probably wouldn't have necessarily seen them on my own. And Professor John Mochler, for instance, he had a very significant influence on my decision to attend the University of Chicago. And Al Snelgrove and Richard Voss and Barb Lemmy, they also helped me see, I should be aiming higher, right, than maybe I was thinking when I first started at the college, and all the different types of other enrichment and scholarship and opportunities that were available to me that would make it possible, right, to make that transition, to transfer successfully. And then, of course, there was actually many students and peers that also played a really, really important role for me, including those I served with in Phi Theta Kappa, which is, as we know, the Honors Society for the two-year college, Phi Beta Kappa, which is Honors Society for Psychology. And then I was also actively involved as a senator in what, at that time, we were calling the COD, Student Government Association. And so it just brings me back to why for me, it's just such a special closing of the circle, because I think, we're all here for our students, right? I think that's what really matters. And having this institution having been so transformational for me while I was a student, and then to be back here and have the honor of serving as board chair now and being in a position to make a positive impact for thousands of students who, who I can identify with, right? Who like me now are ready, willing, and able to find a path, find their own path, find their unique path towards self-actualization, climb those new mountains, and have faculty, have mentors that are truly, truly going to care about them and invest in them, so that they can be successful. And for that, I'm just truly, truly grateful. And I just want to thank you. This is very much a great honor for me.
Chair Dunn? Thank you, Chair Don. Your words are reflective of students who come to COD and truly find themselves in their paths. The next presenter is Steve Gubertson, who is Dave's younger brother. The Gubertson boys grew up primarily in South Wheaton and attended Glen Ellen schools. Steve and Dave are not only brothers, but also are great friends who have bonded over a deep passion for all things musical, as Steve is currently the orchestra director and fine arts department chair at Glenbard South High School.
My brother Dave has long been an enormous influence in my life. As my older brother, his passion for and deep interest in every facet of music was inspirational to me as a kid. I remember sitting in our basement, him at the piano, plunking out extended jazz chords, and us talking about the character of each of them, breaking down what about them made us feel the way they made us feel. I think that's a good example of the passion and curiosity that has driven him since he was young to be the success that he's become. His route to being an opera singer is, at least I assume, an unconventional one. From coming to singing late from his initial trombone experience, to working full-time hours stocking shelves at Jewel at Donato while attending COD for his associate's degree, he worked very hard to make up for lost time developing the skill set that he has now. While he had done some singing as a kid in church and learned solfege at Yamaha Music School in Wheaton, trombone remained his primary instrument through his time at COD. Aside from this innate passion for music and his accompanying work ethic, there's a natural aptitude that my brother has always had for learning new things. So much so that my friend gave him the nickname of Skills when we were in high school. If I'm being real, I have not called him Dave since about 1995 because of that nickname. He is most certainly Skills, and Uncle Skills to my kids. It doesn't matter what style of music it is. If there's quality in it, my brother is interested. I think it is that curiosity that in part has led to his success musically. Yes, he sings opera with the Lyric Opera and choral literature with the Chicago Symphony Chorus, but he is just as interested in sitting down and working through a jazz tune at a piano. It's that broad-based approach and appreciation for diverse styles that has made him such a solid all-around musician. I know that his experience at College of DuPage was formative for him musically. The chance to play jazz in the big band and combo setting, to learn guitar, to take music theory, all from a gifted, dedicated teacher like Tom Tallman, developed his all-around sense of musicianship, and I know that Tom's influence personally made a significant impact. Later, as an adult out of school, he developed a close relationship personally and professionally with Lee Kesselman as he dove headfirst into the choral world. I know that he counts his teachers at COD as being as important to his development and as quality as he has had. Aside from all of these hard skills, it's the soft skills he possesses that define who he is. He's a gentle, thoughtful, kind, and helpful person. You put his musical skills in conjunction with these aforementioned skills, and you have a great music teacher. From when he taught kindergarten general music in a former life, to teaching college vocal students now, I know that all of those students have gained tremendously from my brother's musical knowledge, pedagogical understanding, and manner as a teacher. Humble may not be the first word that comes to mind when the layman thinks of an opera singer, but that is what my brother is. He's retained the same character as long as I have known him, and I know that his skills and who he is as a person make him an ideal candidate for this award. Congratulations, Skills.
Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Uncle Steve, for those kind remarks. It's a real honor today to be here at College of DuPage, which is an institution that has been part of my life for many years in many different capacities. I'm a classical singer, and as such I get reviewed in the paper quite regularly, but I don't think I've ever had the review of Distinguished, so thank you to the college for adding Distinguished to my list of reviews. So even though it says opera singer in the program, my professional life combines both teaching and performing. And one of the things I love about my job is that I get to do a variety of musical activities all the time from week to week. I was telling a student recently that while I haven't done everything under the sun that a singer might do, I've done almost everything. I perform on stage in costume at the opera, in black tie at the symphony. I sing art song concerts with my vocal chamber quartet. I sing liturgical music in houses of worship. I've performed in theaters, concert halls, outdoor parks, libraries, stadiums, art galleries, living rooms, restaurants, bookstores, churches, synagogues, gymnasiums, at the zoo, and even once in a silo in a barn. It's very cool. If you like early music, you should check out the Byron Colby Barn in Grays Lake. They do some very cool programs up there, and the silo is very acoustically wonderful to sing in. So I have a very interesting professional life, to be sure. I suspect that outside of my own house, I have spent perhaps more hours at College of DuPage than almost anywhere else. Growing up in Wheaton and Glen Ellen, from a young age I attended concerts right here at the Mac. As a teenager, I practiced three-point turns in the spacious parking lots on a learner's permit. I know you all have seen this. This is like a years in the making thing where people practice driving. There used to be the motorcycle schools out there. As a college student, I spent an enormous amount of time on campus, but more on that in just a moment. And as a young professional, I performed right here on the stage with DuPage Opera Theater and the New Classic Singers. And for the past 7 years, I've been on faculty here at the college as a voice instructor. To say that College of DuPage has been a nearly constant part of my life is not an exaggeration. So back to my time as a student. I have many strong memories from the years 1997 to 1999 here at the college, including my very first day of classes at College of DuPage. So at the time, I was living with my grandparents, who lived just south of here, and it was an 8-minute walk from their house to my first class, which was U.S. History with Jane Wu, and it was in the northeast corner room in the bottom of the instructional center in the basement. I can still remember it. And then after that, I'm thinking I probably went to the library and I listened to music. I spent a lot of hours in the library listening to music and reading about music then. After lunch, I remember I had my speech class, which was with Charlotte Tucky Pillar. Oh, we have some Tucky Pillar fans, right? She was a memorable teacher for sure. But after that, I went back over to Glenbard South that day because my first day of college classes was also the Glenbard South Italian Club eating competition. And so I went back to participate in that event. And the side note, the student who created that club, he had a very interesting life and served time in Texas for art fraud. But that's a story for another time. You can ask me about that later. Suffice it to say that after 5 successively larger plates of pasta, from angel hair to potato gnocchi, I was rethinking my life choices by the time I arrived back at College of DuPage for my evening class, philosophy with Kent Richter. That was my first day at College of DuPage. Probably atypical for many of you. So I'm always slightly astonished when people tell me that they don't remember most of their teachers, because I had numerous teachers who were memorable and outstanding, some of whom I just mentioned. Maureen also mentioned some teachers. Freda Lippman was a teacher of mine. I had English with her. How could I forget that? And Barb, I didn't get to say hi to you I was looking for the right moment earlier to say hi, but I had 2 psych classes with Barb Lemmy. Hi, Barb. I'll see you after. And so, again, I'm astonished that people don't remember. Maybe I'm just lucky I had really good teachers. But I had so many good ones who obviously cared greatly about the work that they did and the impact that they made on their students. Teachers who demonstrated knowledge and enthusiasm and a desire to share that knowledge and enthusiasm of their subject with others. And of course, that's the kind of teacher I strive to be now that I am in their shoes. I love the variety of students that I have been able to work with at College of DuPage. Among them have been teenagers, all the way through octogenarians. I have students who write original songs and accompany themselves on guitar, piano, or ukulele. I have students who have transferred to four-year universities to study music. I have students who know every original Broadway cast album by heart. And I have students who simply enjoy music and want to learn how to sing for the first time. So I know that my time as a student here at College of DuPage has now sort of come full circle and influenced my work as a performer and now a teacher at COD. And I'm very pleased to accept this award and carry on the work of making a difference in the lives of students, in the lives of students here at the College and beyond. Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gubertson. I now have the pleasure of introducing Linda Jenkins. Linda is co-advisor of COD's Paralegal program and Lex Honor Society. She has been instrumental in building COD's tight-knit paralegal network community, which consists of current students, alumni, and staff that consider themselves family.
Hi, I'm Linda Jenkins, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Lori Swanson today. She has turned out to be such a dear friend. I got to know her through College of DuPage. She actually got involved in Paralegal Club. I'm one of its co-advisors, and so I got to know her very well. She became the president of Paralegal Club, and we got to know each other even better and started to become friends at that point. Later on, she took advanced legal research and writing from me, and that's when I really got to see what an outstanding student she really was, and she certainly became a wonderful paralegal. So proud of her. I also am so pleased to say that she and her husband Eric gave so generously. They gave a gift, the first of its kind at College of DuPage, where they endowed a classroom for the Paralegal Studies program, so that forever and ever our paralegal students can have their own classroom to learn in and learn all about the law. It's just so wonderful. Lori also, along with Eric, has created a scholarship, an annual scholarship, which is a full ride for our paralegal students who may have delayed their own college education or had to go back because they had to stay at home with a family member with special needs. And so far, this college scholarship has helped 2 students in our program, and it's just been a beautiful thing for them. Lori serves on our advisory council, so she helps give input as to what the community the legal community is looking for in a paralegal. She also helps be an evaluator at our expos for our practicum class, which is sort of like a job fair for our students, a practice job fair. And she always gives great feedback to our students, very helpful. She also speaks to our practicum classes, she speaks to Paralegal Club, and she just gives of herself in so many ways since she has graduated from our program. But now, I just really want to talk about Lori, the person. Lori is the sweetest, kindest woman I know. She is always thinking about others. She listens and she cares, and she comes into a room with a smile and an ear that wants to know more about you and more about your passions. And then suddenly, your passions become her passions, and she just gets involved and she gives back in so many ways, big and small. Just an example of this is when she was Paralegal Club president, we used to meet in the cafeteria at COD on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m., and you can just picture how college students love 7 a.m. Saturday mornings. They come in like dead, Anyway, so she brought in a box of donuts from Dunkin' Donuts, simple, but just so Lori. And everybody sat up, perked up, and it was a great meeting. And it was just like a little small thing, but she just knows what to find in a person. She looks for the good, she helps everyone, and she's just one of the most outstanding people I have ever met. And so I am just so thrilled that COD is recognizing her with this outstanding honor today. And I really want to congratulate Lori and say how very proud I am of everything she's done for us and for College of DuPage. Thank you.
Yeah, y'all noticed that, didn't you? I'm really honored to receive this award today. I'm only here today standing in front of you because of my husband, Eric, who is over there. Wave at us, honey. When I first met Eric, I was a divorced single mom of 2 little ones. I was working full-time at a Chicago law firm, living paycheck to paycheck, renting an apartment with my 2 boys. I cleaned houses on Saturday mornings just to make enough money to go get some groceries for the week. At that time, I had no degree to my name. Eric had 2 master's degrees and was working on his PhD. When I told him I had 2 little boys, one of which is on the autism spectrum, he didn't run away. He merely responded with, "I have a special needs cat." He was not deterred. A couple years later, he married me, took on my boys, and he helped me raise them every step of the way. He was there when my older son began to have violent tendencies, autism. He stood by me with more patience and tender care and compassion than I could ever have. He was not deterred. We were not married even 2 years when my autistic son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Being a mom scared of needles, I did not know I was going to adapt. Eric again helped me every step of the way. He was not deterred. Eric even helped me get back to my dream of getting a degree. I remember my first time back in a classroom after 20 years. I found myself sitting in a desk like the ones back in high school. I felt so out of my element. I had my textbook out on the desk with my notebook, trying to keep them from not sliding off, because they're always angled or something. Each semester, I would navigate the halls of BIC to try and find my next class, struggled figuring out the best place to park on this huge campus, north side, south side. I wondered how other middle-aged folks were handling this going back to school thing. And how can adults with special needs kids even do this? However, I fell in love with the Paralegal Studies program because Sally Fairbank and Linda Jenkins, 2 of the most dedicated and loyal people to the program and the Paralegal Club. Shy little me became active in their award-winning Paralegal Club, served as president in my final semester. Sally and Linda helped me to find myself and realize my own potential. I had to stand up and speak at club meetings and give presentations for and on behalf of Paralegal Club. And having graduated from the program 4 years ago, I'm still giving presentations for paralegal practicum classes each semester as an evaluator of the practicum expos and even serving on the program advisory board. Eric is blessed with being able to be philanthropic. He has let me steer the majority of our philanthropic endeavors, a large portion of which have been for the College of DuPage. Even though Eric has not taken one of his many classes here, he stands behind me with this. We first created a full-ride paralegal scholarship for students who have had to have been a caregiver at some point in their lives, which caused them to put off their own education, because it was a cause near and dear to my heart, and it's not easy going back to school. So we have 2 scholarship winners with us here today, Kim and Shirley. Hi, Kim. Hi, Shirley. Their stories are very inspiring. We also created an endowment of a dedicated classroom for the Paralegal Studies program, first of its kind here at COD. The classroom is BIC 3461. Come see us sometime. Students of the program now have a comfy home for the majority of their paralegal classes. We're working on upgrading the technology in the classroom and hopefully creating the option of coming to class in person or attending virtually. We are also supporters of COD's Coach program, which helps young adults with development disabilities with education and life skills training for employment opportunities. Also a cause near and dear to our hearts. And we look forward to getting to know the Coach program even more and finding out what more of their needs are. Today, Eric and I have been married for 12 years. Our boys are now 19 and 21. This December, I will graduate from Northern Illinois University with a bachelor's in business administration. I'll be sitting for the Illinois, thank you. Slowly catching up to my husband. I'll be sitting for the Illinois Realtors licensing exam next month, and I plan to pursue a master's in legal studies in hopes of teaching paralegal classes someday, right here at COD. I could not have done any of this without my husband, nor without the inspiration and friendship from Sally Fairbank and Linda Jenkins. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alice Snelgrove has the distinct pleasure of introducing not one, but two of today's awardees, which is a testament to the tremendous impact she has made on COD and its students. When Alice started as the lead of the honors program, there were 52 honors students. When she left in 2005, the program boasted over 1,000 enrolled honors students.
What a great joy and honor it is to introduce a former student as a recipient of the College of DuPage Outstanding Alumni Award, Angel Traub. I met Angel one hot summer when she came to me to register for a special honors class I would be teaching, part of an honors seminar, Honors Children's Literature. Into my office walked a beautiful young mother, pushing a stroller inhabited by an adorable baby, merrily kicking her feet. Who could not be charmed? I assumed that as a young mother, Angel was interested in expanding her knowledge of child development and literature, and that possibly she was considering a teaching career. Little did I realize that as she progressed in her educational and professional development and public service, that her interest in child development would later assert itself with her expertise in family law, estate administration and guardianship, child custody cases, and that she would be qualified as a guardian for disabled children and for children in family law, divorce, custody, and adoption cases, demanding and heart-rending specialties. Angel finished that challenging honors course with a solid A, and I was known as a hard grader. As a COD study abroad scholarship recipient, she learned about the criminal justice system in England. She went on to be graduated from COD with high honors as a member of the Honors Scholar Program and Phi Theta Kappa and Psi Beta Honor Societies. To complete her bachelor's degree, and because she was geographically limited owing to family commitments, Angel transferred to Northern Illinois University. There she was named an Outstanding Woman Student, was a member of the University Honors Program, received a Presidential Academic Award, and from which she was graduated summa cum laude. By this time, Angel had set her sights on law school, so without missing a beat, she entered Chicago's John Marshall School of Law on a full scholarship, graduating with her J.D. cum laude, having served as on the Law Review, worked in the Mentor Program, been named a John Marshall Distinguished Scholar, and a member of the Order of John Marshall Honorary Scholarship Society. In 7 years, Angel had completed 3 degrees, all with high honors, with a family and a full-time job. My next encounter with Angel occurred shortly before I retired, when I held a luncheon for Honors Scholar alumni. In that group, Angel quickly spoke up, challenging me and the group. What can we do for the college? And she meant it. Little did I know again that she would become a member of the COD Foundation Board and help raise money to enhance cultural opportunities for the community and to provide students with scholarships and special programs. Some years later, at a COD reception, Angel popped up again. I knew she then served on the foundation board, which filled me with pride, but as we talked that evening, she told me some details of her work, and that she owned the largest women's law firm in the county. She did not tell me that she was the recipient of many awards for her community service and legal expertise. Let me name just a few. The Board of Directors Award from the DuPage County Bar Association, twice, and the Pro Bono Service Award from the DuPage Legal Assistance Foundation, 4 times. She is a regional winner of the Association of Trial Lawyers of America Trial Advocacy Competition. You don't want to go up against her in court. And by clients and colleagues, she is rated 10 out of 10 on AVO. She has also been published in the John Marshall Law Review. Angel's civic contributions are many. In addition to her substantial work as a member of the Foundation Board, Angel presents at legal seminars and speaks at Law Day events. She has served as president of the DuPage Association of Women Lawyers, has been on the board of the DuPage County Bar Association, where she has served as the chair of the Family Law Committee. She is a foundation fellow of the Illinois State Bar Association, a member of the John Marshall Law School Alumni Committee and its mentor program, to name a few. One last word. One evening at a COD event, I witnessed a remarkable testament to Angel's many accomplishments and her commitment to public service. Angel was there, as was a highly respected DuPage County judge with whom I had a nodding acquaintance. Do you know the feeling that occurs when someone you know is appraised? That moment when you come to know for sure what other people see in that person? That moment happened to me. It happened with Angel. It happened that night. It happened when the judge spoke to her in the manner in which the judge greeted her, in the great respect the judge showed her. I watched their interaction, and I knew with certainty who Angel had become, a remarkable woman, a person of fine character and deep integrity, a person of great ability and accomplishment in public service, a person working for truth and justice and fairness, a person who brings great honor to all of us and to College of DuPage. Angel Traub.
Oh, wow, they put this in like 20-point font. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Alice. Those were wonderful words. I appreciate it. Didn't expect all that. I really don't think I belong here in this spot, but I'm very honored to be included in this group. I'm sure my guests are actually here to meet you other four. But that's okay, I have dignity. Hopefully my husband and children are maybe here to see me, maybe? Okay. I am a first-generation graduate of college, and it all started with COD. My husband and I had our first 2 children really young. My husband couldn't even legally drink alcohol yet. And we moved to Glen Ellen specifically because the apartment complex that I worked for would give me a discount to live there. But the main reason was because it was across the street from COD. At the time, I told my husband I wanted to go to college. I was working full-time and nursing our second child. We had 1 car, and since I worked at the apartment complex where we lived, the car was my husband's. So having the college across the street worked out really well. It was quite a blessing. The college would have been beyond a financial stretch for us, so I also hit my poor husband up, who had only been married to me for 1 year, to say, can you let me go to college? So I feel fortunate when I found out that COD at the time had a program called the Honor Scholar Program. If you were accepted into the program, every honors class you took, as long as you maintained at least a B average, was tuition free. So I took all honors classes. This was actually a dream come true for me. It was work hard. I wasn't opposed to that. We will help you. Thank you, COD. During my tenure at COD, I availed myself of all of the opportunities that I could. I would stay on the campus as much as my work, my husband, and my children could allow. I still remember sitting in the cafeteria with some classmates, watching the OJ trial, riveted. The famous lines, "If the glove don't fit," and watching the verdict come down. Certain things about this campus I can never forget. This was one of my first inspirations about the possibility of furthering my education all the way to law school. I have 3 criminal attorney friends here. I never went into criminal. One is Circuit Court Judge Margaret O'Connell. Thank you for being here. Soon to be Circuit Court Judge Mia McPherson. And Criminal Defense Attorney Supreme Mia McPherson. Thank you guys for being here. So I didn't go into criminal law, but it was one of my first inspirations. And the COD made furthering my education all the way to law school possible. My dad, who I still miss after 20 years this December, proclaimed that I would be a lawyer when I was 4. He just didn't think 4-year-olds could argue as much as I did to get out of bedtime. In my second year at COD, 2 things happened that launched my higher education goals and ultimately my career. The first was meeting Alice Snelgrove in the Honor Scholar program. At the time, she was the director of the program and also a teacher for that specific course she actually told you about, the child literature and child development course. No, I did not want to be a teacher. But Alice supported me. She knew I was a young mother. One of the classes, they said, borrow a child to bring in for child development, and I brought my child in. So. She supported me. She truly cared about my academic success, so much so that when I came to her and said, hey, there's this application for a really big scholarship at NIU, would you write me a letter of reference? And that letter, I believe, was one of the main reasons I received that full-ride scholarship. Not only did I meet Alice from this program, but I also solidified my love for helping children. At law school, you start to figure out what your practice areas interests are. I wanted to represent children. But how do you do that? I had no idea how you do that 24 years ago. But to my benefit, Illinois has a system in which specifically trained private attorneys are appointed to represent the best interests of children. I and my female law firm have all dedicated ourselves to the fair representation of children for almost 2 decades. The second thing that happened at COD was a COD benefactor, Bajarn. He had the COD program he supported that was a study abroad to learn the criminal justice system in England. He supported the scholarship for that program. So that took a lot of discussions with the husband again about finances and leaving a 3-year-old for several weeks and a 4-year-old. Bajarn provided an annual scholarship for the study abroad. I was the lucky student to receive it. Thank you, Bajarn. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Jal, for letting me go. Thank you, COD. There are a lot of different career paths I considered through my life, but these 2 events solidified my path. That and also the fact that in order to be a fashion designer, you have to know how to draw. So, would have preferred to do that, but didn't have the talent. I will always give back to COD in any way I can. I started with the COD Foundation Board. I didn't come up with this. The president of the Foundation Board at the time, Sherman Neal, came up with it. He was a law firm client. Okay, don't wonder, it wasn't for anything untoward. It was a positive relationship, or else he would have invoked attorney-client privilege on me. But we were meeting in my office one day, and he said, you hang your COD degree proudly next to your law degree? And I said, yes, of course I do. It was my start. And then came Sherman's next words. So, Angel, that was the start of my 6-year participation on the COD Foundation board. The foundation is so integral in successfully supporting student success. I'm so proud to have been on the board for that 6 years. Stepping down this year to focus on my role as the DuPage County Bar Association president was difficult. But stepping down did not stop my involvement in COD, because then came Walter. Hello, you know what, Angel? So the VP of Institutional Advancement got me to stay active with the college, even with my role with the presidency for the Bar Association. And now I'm proud to serve on the executive committee of the Alumni Network. Both the foundation and the Alumni Network are driving forces in this Alumni Week that they've had this week, and the continual support of student success. Lastly, if it weren't for the support of my husband, Troy, giving up money and time to support me in my adult education, and my 3 children, Brianna, Angelica, and Lucas, who I all had during law school, and still graduated with honors, and having to give up the idea of having a mom who makes school lunches or was home when they returned from school, I could have not done it without them. And mostly, thank you, COD, for my start.
Thank you, Angel. Our final introduction is being made by Patrick Ryan, who said he and Lamorn Morris consider themselves to be brothers. Both went to high school and COD together before moving on to make it big. You may recognize Patrick from his role as Deputy Fox in the horror movie Candy Corn.
Hi, my name is Patrick Ryan, and I'm here to introduce Lamorn Morris for the Distinguished Alumni Award. Lamorn has been my best friend, my brother, for 25 years. We went to Glenbard South together, College of DuPage together, separate times at Second City, Chicago together. And Lamorn has been one of the most influential people in my life, but I think I'm speaking on behalf of other alumni who have been friends with Lamorn for maybe not as long as I have, that he is really an amazing person beyond being an actor. Lamorn will tell you that he's wanted to be an entertainer from a very early age. I remember in high school, we would talk together about wanting to do a buddy cop movie together. We always loved Beverly Hills Cop. We always loved that back and forth, give and take, and comedy bouncing off each other. And that's almost how our relationship has been to this very day, is we can kind of finish each other's sentences. We can read each other's minds. We'll demonstrate later. Lamorn went on from COD to do commercials for the White Sox, McDonald's, get onto TV on New Girl, Woke, Bloodshot, Game Night, and then arguably my favorite project he ever did, April Fools. Lamorn, you played Melvin, and you did a great job. You were bullied, and you got your revenge. But I would say your revenge ultimately in life has been your success. You've been an incredibly talented, successful person. You haven't let success change you. You've allowed people like myself and our other close-knit group of friends really stay true to our friendship and stay true to a whole as to what made us all friends at that very time. Fans will come up to Lamorn all the time, whether we're out walking, whether we're at dinner, even at a movie theater, and we'll ask to take a picture with him, an autograph. And Lamorn's response is simple: absolutely. I would love to. I'd love to talk to you, spend a little bit of time. Lamorn's not one of those people that will push people away. He'll bring them in. He wants to know about their day, what they do, where they're from. That's who he is as a person. He doesn't sit there and talk about himself. He cares so much about his fans and taking time because he knows what it's like to not be in this light. He's earned every ounce of being an actor. He's earned every ounce of fame. But Lamorn has made contributions to COD in both donations as well as time. This doesn't surprise me in the least bit. Lamorn has always wanted to give back from what he had taken. And Lamorn took education. He took talent. He took opportunity here at College of DuPage. And he always wanted to make sure he gave back. We're incredibly proud of you. You deserve this award, and I couldn't think of a better person to have it. So thank you so much for everything you've done for me, for the community, for COD, and man, I'm really proud of you.
Oh my goodness. Oh my, hold on, I just want to put this in front of my family and friends just so they could see it. Just so you guys can get a good look at it, I want you guys to see it. Hold on, one more, just. That's what greatness looks like. So get a real good, that's right, that's my brother with it right now. Get a good look at it. I want you guys to start respecting me. Okay. I'm going to go through, some of my friends and family are here. I want to go, Aisha, that's my mother right there, my beautiful mother. It's my brother, Devon. My sister, Kenitra, that's my niece. I'm gonna name everybody. Nia, that's Rudy right there. That's Amari, that's Mike Farigato, former COD. That's Mike Chino right there. That's Mrs. McCumber right there. That's Patrick Ryan, the liar right there. That's Tierre right there. That's Matt, and that's Peter. Thank you all for being here. Peter, the Killians are here. Who am I missing? I think Anthony is here. Okay, we got a lot of people here that know me, and I definitely appreciate it. But I want you all to start recognizing me now as the honorable, the distinguished, the most high, Lamorn. You don't have to say my last name, because once you say all the other stuff, I think they'll know who you're talking about. So thank you. First and foremost, I do want to give all honor and glory to God for allowing this opportunity to happen. I think I speak for a lot of people in this room. I wouldn't be here without that. A lot of times in my life, I've been, the life of an artist or an actor or anyone can be daunting. It can be troubling. You can find yourself in compromising situations, and without the grace of God, I don't think that. Actually, I know I wouldn't have been here today. So thank God for that. My mother right there. If anyone knows my mom, you would know that my mom is where I get my sense of humor from. I'm not sure if you all saw her on Kimmel. Yep, she was on Kimmel recently. And she decided to sit in the front row just like she did today. And I got to ask you again, Mom, did you inhale? Did you? No? Okay. I would keep it clean. I didn't say anything bad there. I didn't say. My siblings who are here today, thank you for always supporting me, always encouraging me. My sister is literally wearing a T-shirt that I made. Thank you all, my nieces, my friends, my family. I really do appreciate this. So my mom moved us to the DuPage area, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, when I want to say I was about 14 years old. We moved from the south side of Chicago, and that was one of the best decisions I think you could have made for us, just because it's where I learned a lot. It's where I formed a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships, and it's where it's why I'm here. It's why I came to the College of DuPage. When I was 14, I got a job at the College of DuPage bookstore. And, well, one, because we lived right across the street. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was pretty convenient. We lived right there at the Briarcliff Apartments, and that's where you were? I thought you looked familiar. Oh my goodness. What's up? Okay. So I could, I got the opportunity to work at the College of DuPage bookstore. I mean, there was a guy across the hall. I think he was selling illegal things. I could have worked for him, but I didn't. I chose a different path. I chose the bookstore. And let me tell you, boy, was that job boring. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. Every day, cash register, books, I didn't like it. So I just kept thinking, my goodness, I can't wait to skip college someday. That's honestly what I thought. Is this what college is like? Fast forward to years later, I'm at the College of DuPage. I won the Chris Farley Second City Memorial Scholarship to go here, and it changed my life. Thank you. Thank you. When I say it changed my life, I don't think you understand. I got a chance to meet some of the greatest teachers and directors that you could ever ask for. I think Ken is here today. Shout out to Ken, mere mortals. Let's see, we got Amelia Barrett here. Woo! Rest in peace, Craig Berger, and Connie Canaday Howard. Man, greatest teacher I've ever had. I could not make that up. Till this day, she still keeps in contact with me. She still checks in on me. The idea behind staying committed, staying disciplined in your craft, making bold choices, that has stuck with me through my entire career. So I definitely thank you all for always instilling that in me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be the actor that I am today. Hopefully I've made you proud. Let's see. Also, while here at the College of DuPage, I got a chance to perform. I got a chance to share the stage with some amazing actors, none of which are here today. So thank you all for your support. Wherever you are in this world, you had something better to do than to come here and support me. I've done so much for you, but we do have someone here in the audience today. Mike Farigato. Mike, can you wave to everybody, please? Mike Farigato. When I tell you this man is the greatest actor on the planet, I'm not joking. This man has taught me so much as a performer. And till this day, before I go on stage, I say the same thing that Mike has always told me before every performance. He would shake my hand, he would look me directly in the eye, and he would always say, make it great. Otherwise, what are we doing? In life, I feel like that's what we have to do. We have to be bold in our choices. Mike has always taught me before I go on stage, make a big entrance. That's why all that silliness when I first got up here. Because if the rest of the speech is trash, at least the beginning was good. So thank you, Mike, for always instilling that in me. I appreciate it, brother. Hope to share the screen with you someday. Guys, I think that is my time. I do want to thank you all for being here, and for the future students of COD, the current students of COD. I want you to know something. Always dream big, but not too big, just because I don't need the competition. It's so hard. So thank you all.
Can we have one last ovation for all of our distinguished alumni? We are so proud and privileged to have you all represent this great institution. Thank you so much. On the back of your program, there's a QR code And I point this out, and quite frankly, if I didn't point it out, one should wonder, how did I get this job? Because how can I be a fundraiser and not use an opportunity to talk about raising money? Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I don't want to spoil the vibe, but there is a QR code there that if you wish to donate, we would greatly appreciate it. All of that money goes to the foundation, and all of our efforts go to student success. And so you've heard from College of DuPage students. That's who they still are. That's who they were. This is what we want for every single student, whether they are a traditional student or non-traditional student. When they walk through our doors, we're hoping that they will have some piece of that same experience. And the way you can help make that happen is to continue to support the efforts that allow students at the College of DuPage to succeed. I want to thank everyone for coming. For taking the time this Sunday to honor these individuals. We're very proud of them, and obviously each one of you has had some stake in their success, and quite frankly, in return, they've given us great joy. I want to also take this opportunity to recognize Ellen Farrow, who is the manager of our Alumni Relations program. And to recognize our entire advancement team. We have spent a year bringing this program back, and we wanted to bring it back in a way that it was sustainable and we can grow it. And so your presence here today also plays a role in this new beginning and an opportunity to honor more alum throughout the years, and we intend to do that. I also want to just have one little shout out to a brand new member of our team who is our events coordinator, and so I threw her right into this at the last minute, and that's Amy Fries. Amy, thank you for everything that you did. Now, one last comment before we adjourn. I want to make sure that we have the entire group to come forward because we want to take some photographs. If you want to take photographs, we're going to have some official ones, and then once that is complete, you can join them out in the lobby again. There's still food there. There's beverages, and enjoy your time together. And finally, on behalf of our president, our cabinet, and our board of trustees, and all of our faculty and staff, thank you for being here, and thank you for honoring our best.